Welcome, everyone, to Mythstorie, a podcast about myths and history. I am one of your hosts, Bryant, with my permanent guest and co-creator, Cammy. Welcome back.
Thank you, Bryant.
So we have had a nice kick last episode. Really enjoyed talking about Lakshmi, a Hindu goddess featured in the Bhagavad Gita, an epic tale. Thank you for your wonderful story on that. And we're going to continue the Hindu tradition here with another story, another famous person from Hindu mythology, not necessarily from the Bhagavad Gita, though, although he's featured in it. But we're going to talk about Karna, who, total badass, very awesome demigod dude, featured in the Mahabharata, which is like the prequel to the Bhagavad Gita. So listen to our last episode if you can. We talked a lot about that, the sources, kind of the setup. There's a lot to unpack in these stories. And so what we're going to do, as we always do, Cammy has a story about Karna from the Mahabharata, I believe, right? I don't think there's like anything else you could do it from, really.
Yeah, if he was mentioned in any of the others, I didn't find like enough to like write on.
Okay, spoilers, 3,000-year-old or more than that text, he does die in the Mahabharata, so that's probably why he didn't follow up in a lot of others.
Bryant.
I'm sorry,
you ruined the. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah. So yeah, you really wouldn't see him in a lot else. But Cammy's got a story for us, and then I'll talk a little bit more about who Karna was and some of the sources that discuss him, like the Mahabharata. We're trying, Cammy. We're getting it right. So as always, Cammy, please regale us with your story.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I did use the Mahabharata, and I guess I'll just start. Kuni, queen of Kuru, found herself pregnant by the sun god, and unsure of what her parents would do if she had a child, sent her baby down the Ganges in a basket, so he might find a loving family to belong. And that he did. Karna was plucked from the river by a charioteer and raised to be a great archer and warrior. And it was not long before the boy was ready to prove himself in battle. Not knowing his true lineage, Karna fought on the side of the Kauravas against his own family line. He showed great bravery in the battle against his brothers, and his loyalty to the cause was unmatched from the other warriors. After 17 days, both sides were weary, and Lord Krishna appeared to Karna's long lost brother as his charioteer. He told the man of Karna's lot and convinced him that though he would be striking his brother with death, he would be doing it for the good of the world. So the man reached for his bow and aimed, immobilizing the chariot. And then, as Karna tried to free his buggy, his brother rained arrows that shielded his father from the sight of his own son falling. And as the arrows stopped, the man who was left revealed himself to his brothers he had fought so valiantly against and voiced regret for his choices. And then he pleaded with his family to show peace to his children and his wife. And so, to honor their dying brother's words, they granted his request. And he ascended to sit with his father in the heavens, where he too found peace.
So, Cammy, how can I tell that this was written by a woman from South Carolina? I'll tell you how. It's because she calls a chariot a buggy. That's why. When you said that, I almost lost it.
So here's the thing, like there are not a whole lot of words that you can use to describe a chariot.
Sure.
So like, would trolley have been better? Like, I don't know, it would have been better.
I think chariot would have been fine.
But I used it like 3 times in a row. That's what I was trying to get away from.
I feel it. His horse-drawn vehicle of slaughter. Yeah. Yeah. What do you call that thing in a grocery cart? A buggy. What do you call that thing that Hammurabi rode to fight Sumerians? A buggy. So yeah, exactly. All right. Well, very great story. That is Karna in a nutshell. And he's a demigod. He was born from the sun god Surya and Kunti, a princess of the Kuru kingdom. Surya, getting a lot of Zeus vibes from you, bud. So Kunti couldn't keep this kid. She was a teenager. It was premarital, extraterrestrial. She couldn't go through with it, so she abandoned him, Mosesed him down the Ganges River, and a charioteer or a buggier and a poet picked him up, raised him, and he grew up to be a skilled warrior because of it. He's known for his strength. He's known for he's very Herculean. He very much so to me seems like a Hercules character. A lot of like descriptions about him really focus on his allegiance, his ability to like talk to people, loyalty. So the conflict that he died in is really important because it's the Kuru. Hold on, let me see the Kurukshetra War, which took place in Kuruk. So this was a dynastic struggle between two groups of cousins, essentially, the Kauravas and the Pandavas, for a specific throne. So these were all relatives, very much like royalty. You know, you'd expect them. But this, what's cool is this war, and it took up a quarter of the text, the Sanskrit, the ancient poem, the Mahabharata. But it took up like a fourth of that. So it was a really important battle, and it's where we feature a lot of this, and then leads directly into the Bhagavad Gita, which we talked about last episode. But that's a collection of poems written in Sanskrit, which describe people like Lakshmi. It's very important for studying ancient Hindu, ancient Indus Valley, all that. It's a huge piece of work, and it's very important. I did mention the Bhagavad Gita was written around they believe the 1st to 2nd century Common Era. This could be as old as 3000 BC, could be like a lot sooner. Definitely
That's
had some
older than
revisions.
Moses, right?
I believe so. Yeah. When was Moses around?
No
I think
idea.
that was around the same time. But anyway, more about Karna. I'll talk about the Mahabharata in a minute. He so I didn't actually realize this, but from your tale, so I guess he didn't know of his divine lineage entirely because you said he wasn't aware that he was fighting his own like family because he was
Yeah,
killed.
at the
Go ahead.
time, so there's more to the story after he dies. It's not like
Right.
he just dies and then that's it.
Yes. Yeah.
And
He's
his
a
curse does linger like into
oh
the afterlife, which is interesting. But he yeah, from what I read, he didn't, or from what I understood from what I read, he didn't know at first that he was fighting them. I
sure.
think he does realize it and then he reveals it.
Okay, yeah, yeah. He was killed by his half brother Arjuna, who's a very important character in all of these. He's an important figure. He's also known as like the greatest archer, and Karna is said to be of equal skill to him. And so, but Arjuna, yeah, he's able to stop his chariot and then take him down after that. So, Karna though, he's really known for like having flaws. He remains loyal though to the Karanas or the Pandavas, despite I mean I guess learning that they're his family and things like that. He also like the text talk about him sticking by I believe it's Duryodhana. He chose to honor his friendship and alliance with Duryodhana, staying on the side of the Kauravas. Okay, so he's on the side of the Kauravas. There we go. Sorry about that. So yeah, his loyalty and his like just his sense of justice are compromised when he learns the true identity he's a Pandava and his connection to Lord Krishna. And so, but he's like, nope, I'm here. This doesn't, yes, I'm blood related to them, but you're my family. Get in my buggy, let's go. So it's really cool too. He has like so yeah, he's raised by this charioteer. He possesses a divine bow, the Vijaya bow, which he obtained after pleasing Lord Shiva. So he's definitely like again, I get a lot of Herculean vibes from this, where he's around the mortals more in a way than he is like the
And he's not
the gods.
perfect.
Right, 100%. Yeah, yeah. He is the. I don't know if the text really says it, but he is definitely like a demigod when you look him up and things like that. So, yeah, he gets stuck. He dies. But he was praised as someone virtuous, generous. He's very much a tragic hero. Sacrifice. He resembles sacrifice, valor, unwavering loyalty. Very well like done character. I think very inspiring. So the Pandavas, the group that he was fighting, the group that he was sort of a part of. Just a quick thing about them: there's a group of 5 brothers that are central to this. They're the sons of Pandu, the king of the throne that this whole war, the Kurukshetra war, is going on about. His 2 wives are Kunti and Madri. Oh, so he's fighting the sons, his half brothers.
Mm-hmm.
His mom's on that side. Wow. Why?
So was he born first? That would make him probably like the king or whatever, right? When she
Yeah, but
died.
but because of because of only being his dad's being the sun god Sunti, I think that comes to problem. I mean, that's his throne is the sun, not the Hastinapura throne, which is what the Pandavas were fighting for. So yeah, they're really big. That's who the Pandavas are. These five brothers. Arjuna is being one of them. He's the third brother, and he's considered the greatest archer. Um, he's particularly important in the Bhagavad Gita. He's a very much so a central character. So Karna dies. I try to kind of like figure out what date. So like the date of all these battles and things like that, they do put at around like 3100 BCE. So they believe just based off of celestial events that are referenced, all these sorts of things, they kind of pinpoint this. Doesn't mean that the tale was written in this time. Think again like Homer and the Odyssey and things like that. But they believe that it took place around 3139 BCE based on these things. So it's hard to see exactly when, though. And again, as far as like the historicity of the Mahabharata goes, it's went through a lot of changes. It looks like, and additions. Like any dude who knew Sanskrit seems like he added something to it around like the coming up centuries closer to the Common Era. So uh, really enjoy reading about him. You can also find him in the epic. I think we mentioned this in the last episode too. The Ramayana he's in, but the Mahabharata is definitely the most important detail. The Ramayana, it's a epic poem that mentions Karna. He's less significant. He's really just portrayed as a skilled warrior who helps Rama in his battle against Ravana. I believe Ravana is like a demon lord, and Rama is fighting him. So he's like, yeah, let me get my bro Karna, get on down here in his buggy. The Puranas is another text that he has. That I know we talked about. This is another collection of Hindu scriptures that just kind of contains stories about Karna. If I remember right from the Lakshmi episode as well. Yeah, this is just a collection of a little bit more on the religious side. But again, these are old tales. You know, you could say that they're religious maybe in the same way that the Greeks held the Iliad or the Odyssey and the Iliad as religious texts. You know, they were fun stories, dramatic stories that taught them about history and why the world is the way it is. So yeah. Oh, and then also there's a collection called the Mahabharata commentaries. Wikipedia says that these provide exegesis on the epic and offer insight into Karna's character. So I guessing that was like a people post it analyzing it, but also are like ancient texts. So yeah, as far I wanted to find a little bit more how old the Mahabharata is. Most scholars believe it was compiled in the form that we have between the third century BCE and the third century CE. It probably reached its final form by the early Gupta period, which is the fourth century CE. So these tales are probably a lot older than that. These events that they could have been based on are older, obviously, but the way it's compiled, the way we have it, is that again, I'll make the analogy to Homer. You know, he wrote the Odyssey. They think, oh god, what like 800 BC, isn't that right? Or maybe even later than that. I might have my dates all squared or screwed up in my head. But what Homer was writing on about the adventures of Odysseus in the Odyssey and things like that, these stories were way older. So that's what this is. These characters, Karna might be representing someone who's thousands of years old at the time of the Sanskrit dude was nailing it down the way he was. So I think it was in ink though. I don't think he had a nail. But so that's all I've got really. Karna, super awesome badass. I think of there would be these like funny gifs on Reddit of these Bollywood films, and it would be some crazy stuff. Like there's this guy, he gets like a palm tree, he like brings it down, him and his buddies like jump on it, and then he like lets or cuts a rope or something like that, and then they use it to like catapult themselves over these walls and stuff, and you're just like, oh man, that's wild, that's crazy. And then I read these stories and I'm like, actually it's not. I think I could see this. So I didn't look to see if there was like any popular. I wonder if I'm curious if these texts are too like these stories are too religious. But I mean, like we made the Passion of the Christ and all that. So I just curious if there's like really famous and well done films based off of this stuff, like not like horrible 60s, kind of things, but like something a little more modern that is good. I'm curious if anyone can chime in on that. If there's some really good like content that depicts this that doesn't.
There's definitely a movie with Karna in it.
Yeah,
And it looked to be a Bollywood movie. I didn't actually watch it or anything. Um, if you want to look it up really fast to see if you can get the name,
yeah. The Times of India um, does have. Yeah, there's even a film called Karna.
that might
Tons of
be what I'm
actors.
talking about then, because they did a really good job. The depictions of Karna and the guy that they cast sort of very similar.
Sure. Um,
While Bryant's looking that up, though, I do want to say, I just realized that I only just said the Mahabharata, but I used a PDF that I downloaded, and it was translated from the original Sanskrit by Kasari Mohan Ganguly. So
okay.
I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, it looks like there's a movie called Mahavir Karna, which is based on the Indian epic of the Mahabharata, with a centered story upon Karna. So, 2016, it looks like. Um, no news about it though. No news. So I couldn't tell you if it's good or not. It doesn't say anything. But I really enjoy this though, and we have such a Western focus, Greek, Roman, the Iliad, Odyssey. Um, that we don't get to see these sort of things. And I think that this has just as much to offer in a lot of ways as those. So I'm glad we got to scratch the surface. If there's anything critical that we're missing, if you're someone who knows a lot more about it, please let us know. We'd be happy to revise and talk more about this stuff. I mean, there's tons of characters we could easily revisit this. I think we're going to shelve this specific aspect for a little while now since we've covered a lot of it, but we'll definitely come back at some point with some more stories from it. So, Cammy, thank you so much for
Yeah,
your
thank you,
story.
Bryant.
Yeah. And please let us know what you think. If you enjoyed the episode, if you have any recommendations for content that we should talk about, mystery. We've talked about everything from Yetis to Paul Bunyan. Is that his name, right?
Yeah, Paul
Yeah.
Bunyan.
We talked about a lot of stuff. So let us know what you think. I'm definitely going to encourage Cammy and I to do a Norse episode soon. Probably I'm finally playing God of War Ragnarok, and that is so well done. Oh, it is so good.
I'm playing Diablo, and it
Oh,
is really
Diablo
good.
4.
Yeah, it's really good. And so I would like to do something on Lilith
Is that based
soon if
on
we
myth?
could.
Oh, Lilith. Yeah. Okay. I was like, is it
Hmm.
just devil myth?
Yeah,
That's
it's like
boring.
the devils, but they're different ones.
Sure.
So
We could do a Lilith episode. Yeah. All right. Well, until the Lilith episode airs, please continue to join us. We try and hit you bi-weekly. YouTube, all your podcasting services, all that good stuff. Please like, subscribe, donate, all those things. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We will see you next time.